have a wonderful and very beautiful, colorful topic for you guys today. So we're at my parents' home, and you guys know my dad, Dave, and my mom and dad love orchids, and they grow the most beautiful orchids. And I thought you'd be so inspired, as I am, by the incredible vignette they've created by their windows, looking out at their little pond and all these gorgeous colors. I'm the kind of girl who ends up killing all my houseplants, so I'm not the one to share many tips and things, but I thought my dad could share a few of his tips. So, Dad, just kind of let us in on your whole, how you guys got into this.
Well, I'd love to. It was an interesting beginning. My mother, about 8 or 10 years ago, bought us our first orchid as a gift. It happened to be a Cymbidium like this tall one on the floor over here. Actually, it's quite a bit taller. And from there, I don't know, the fever just caught on, and we just kind of kept on collecting throughout the past few years. And now we have a collection of approximately 30 plants.
And they're all alive.
They're all alive. They're all alive. Orchids, we should get rid of a myth right off the bat. Orchids are not that difficult to grow and take care of.
So they're not the original hothouse flower?
These are not really not the original hothouse flower. They need to be treated just like you would treat one of your pets or something like that. They need light, water, and temperature are the three basic things. Mm-hmm. The first thing a person should do is look at their home environment, where they have light coming from. Southeast, southwest is great, particularly in the winter times. Obviously, we're here in Wisconsin, so we're getting a nice sunny day today. There's a lot of days we don't. Sun gets too bright pretty soon. I'll be putting screens back in the windows to modify the lighting on them, because some of these cannot take a direct sunlight like they can right now in the winter.
So too much sun actually, what does it end up, will it kill them? Will they get wilty, or what happens? Because I always think of orchids as, a California or a southern kind of thing where they can sit outside and just sort of absorb.
Well, some are, but for our Wisconsin area, there's about a half a dozen that do real well in a home environment and that we can work with. Mm-hmm. A prime example of too much sun is this plant. This is called a Phalaenopsis. In fact, a number of these plants are the same. They're different colors because they're basically all hybrid. You will very rarely will a breeder want to part with an original plant, you might say. So basically you're going to get a lot of hybrids. In the orchid world, it's one of the largest species of plants that there is in the world, actually. There's approximately 30,000 originals. And with the hybriding that's going on nowadays, there's probably well over 100,000 plants that are available to you on a worldwide deal. But the thing with this plant in particular, a lot of the water is stored in the leaves. Mm-hmm. So the minute if these leaves get sunburned, then the plant begins to lose some of its water.
Sure, sure. And Dad, one of the things that I think is cool about these orchids is they're so sophisticated looking, and they look like a very expensive flower, but they're really not. I mean, you can buy these kind of anywhere, right? I mean, you don't have to spend a ton of money on them, and that's, that I think opens it up to the rest of the world who loves beautiful flowers. This
particular type right here in the last 15 years has been marketed so much, and the breeders can really produce these now. Some of them come from as far away as Holland. There's wonderful growers there, and Florida, Texas, California, Hawaii. The beautiful thing about this particular orchid is it's easy to take care of. Basically, water once a week, keep it from getting sunburned. They can stay in the shade as well as sunlight like this. But the thing that's really attracted Annette and myself to them is this flower came in bloom about a month and a half ago, and it will stay in bloom for another 3 to 4 months.
It's my kind of flower.
Where you're going to buy even to go downtown and buy flowers in a pot or something like that.
My hollyhocks don't even bloom for that long out in the summer, and my gosh, they take up in the garden.
It's fantastic, and look at the range of colors that you have and everything else.
Now, you have told me too, Dad, that, and this is another thing that I don't think anyone knows about orchids, because you typically buy one and you smell it and there's no smell, and I always think, oh, they're so beautiful, but they don't smell good. But you actually have some that smell good. And
in the last few years,
new piece of information.
Some of the top breeders in the last few years, this is a typical one of the orchids right here. that has a fragrance to it. They begin to develop orchids with a fragrance. This, some of the people out there that are watching that are my age might remember this. This is called the old corsage orchid.
Sure.
When we went to the high school proms and the weddings and the different things and everything else, this is the flower that was used. I think it's
it's like a dress. It's so beautiful.
It's well, I like the size and the shape of it, the fragrance and everything else. We have some other types here too. This is called a vanda. This is a little more difficult to grow because all orchids are epiphytic, and this one in particular in the fact that it has no dirt or anything on the roots. It has to be open to the air. Epiphytic means their roots are basically air breathers. So they take a lot of moisture in through the roots. That's the only way the plant is really fed or something like that.
And that's what's cool about this pot. You see it actually is an orchid pot.
Air circulation and the watering and everything else. A little more high maintenance plant. These you can get away with watering once a week basically. You can throw them outside in a shaded area in the summer. Around here, California, you can keep them outside all the time. This plant can take a lot of sun and everything else, but it has to be looked after almost on a daily basis because of the moisture that it requires.
That's a little more hothouse.
A little more hothouse.
A little more high maintenance for the rest of us. I also love that some of them have these big, fat leaves, and then this one I was saying to Dad before, I love how cattail-like it looks. You guys can see it's so pretty, and then it's got this gorgeous flower. It looks like you just stuck it in there, but that's so pretty.
This is called a Cymbidium. It's also recognized as one of the few that can be grown as a terrestrial plant. And
what do you mean by that?
Terrestrial means you can grow it in a pot with a light mix of like a leaf mulch and some bark and that type of thing. Easy to take care of. Yeah. California, these stay outside all the time.
Lucky dogs.
Lucky dogs. These actually nickname, you'll hear people talk about these plants, a lot of them, as the moth orchid.
Yeah, that's
it is a kind of a...
It really does kind of look like a butterfly. You know what else I love about this, and it's something that we can all apply. You know, if you know orchids are something you want to grow, or you have other kinds of flowers. I love this vignette, and what's cool about it, and what we can all pull away from this, is this table is so gorgeous with this marble top, which looks so elegant and French, and then these little statues mixed in. It's like everyone's having their own little garden party here. And then, you know, you've put symmetry with these two gorgeous lanterns and then the little framed art going up the wall. You know, you've literally created this beautiful garden setting, which is right in their great room, right next to their dining table. And I think it's got to make it that much more fun to be around them. It's so fascinating. When I get up in the morning, besides getting my cup of coffee, the next place I go is right to the orchids. With your coffee. With my coffee. There's something that, once you get into it, it's very catching. It's hard to leave them alone. It's hard to go to an orchid show and come home without plants. And by the way, wherever you are, there's 1 million orchid clubs throughout the United States. A lot of little cities have groups, big cities have groups and everything else. Some of the best places to get information and see some of these orchids and actually buy them at a good price is at some of the local orchid shows that these various clubs put on. Right. We've done a little bit of that. Actually, you can buy them online. I've actually purchased a couple online too. But I think the fun of it, the orchid show, that type of thing is so great because there's people there that can answer a lot of questions and everything else. You can find out online nowadays almost anything you want about orchids. You can go to some of the stores and online and purchase books and that type of stuff. And it's a fairly easy study. You just start out small and with a few of the simpler plants. Sure. Yeah, you can get into some of these plants that take a high degree of expertise to grow and everything else. You'll love it. Jump in. So, you know, some of you may already grow orchids or love flowers. We're going to recommend, too, in some of the links, some of the books and things that Dad feels are really great. But, you know, it's just inspiring, the color, the setting, everything. So I'm sure you took away all kinds of little details and lots of good tips in there. But yeah, embrace the beauty of these gorgeous flowers. Wherever you buy them, however you want to vignette them, they really will add that one more little touch of gorgeousness into your life. Nice job.
Thank you.